It's the final Maker Advent of 2023. Before we get into technical stuff, I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching this. It's appreciated. I'm not a professional YouTuber, as you can probably tell by the quality of these videos. And how there's no script. Nothing in front of me right now for me to read. It's all just coming out of my brain and pouring out my mouth. And ears, probably. I appreciate everyone watching these videos. It's good fun to make them. At times it can be challenging, but it's good fun to share everything that I'm doing with you, whether it's a success or a failure, because failures we can learn from and we can apply the failure to the next lesson and we can keep learning. But talking of lessons, segue, so you're not even scripted. Learning electronics is all a series of lessons. You learn one thing and you progress onwards. You start off by making an LED turn on and off, then you use a button, then you use a sensor, then it's etc, 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 until you've got some machine learning robot that's running around the room chasing balls or people or cats. I don't know. For me, the gateway into electronics was the Arduino. Now, it sounds big-headed, and I'm not meaning it this way. I'm probably better known for Raspberry Pi stuff, so I've been doing Raspberry Pi stuff since it came out. That's what I do for a living. Arduino for me is always got a place in my heart because it's just a fun little board. But that's the thing with Arduino, it's not just one little board. It's not just this tiny little board that does one thing really well. It does a lot of things really well. So, we go to overhead camera and we'll look at the current darling, which is the cheap yellow display from the previous video. There is the cheap yellow display, and it's running some code from the Arduino IDE I've been messing around with to create a slideshow. Every 10 seconds it'll play a JPEG of, in this case, the ultimate Christmas movie, Die Hard. Cycles through, and then it goes through some AI generated art I used for the title card for this episode. All done in the Arduino IDE. I've got an SD card in the back. There you go. Which will have the images on, the JPEGs, and it just plays through them one by one. If I want to advance through them, I can touch, and it goes through. Awesome. I love it. Challenging to build, but not from a hardware point of view, it was software. The micro SD card is formatted as FAT32, and I saved the JPEG images directly from GIMP. For some reason, the files saved via GIMP onto the card would not play. Save them to the desktop, edit them in Windows built-in picture editor, and then save them as JPEGs again. No idea why. Can't see a difference. I checked in the advanced options for saving a file. Nothing. GIMP's like, well, it's just a JPEG, mate, innit? I don't know how, but I got it working in the end. Bit of head scratching. Isn't an Arduino, it's an ESP32, it's completely different, but uses the Arduino IDE, and that's one of the benefits of the Arduino ecosystem. We've got one single IDE that covers a multitude of boards. You say, multitude of boards, Les? What do you mean by that? Well, this is where I'm going to pull out the box of boards I have. It is pretty much all of my Arduinos now. Some more kicking around somewhere. Oh, I love how we've got dials just in the corner there, that's fun. So these are the new Minima boards, the Arduino Uno R4 boards. So Minima and the Wi-Fi board. Great fun, about 30 to 40 quid these boards. I got these through work at Tom's Hardware, did a review on those. They were good fun. There's loads of Arduino boards in here. You'll also notice Raspberry Pi Pico in there. I've got a separate drawer for Pico stuff, but this is in here for some reason. Raspberry Pi Pico can use the Arduino IDE, so you've got a 4 quid board that can be used with the Arduino IDE if you want to learn the Arduino language. So it's a C++ variant. Arduino's RP2040 board, the Connect. Got Shrimps. So this was done by Kevin Hoyle, Lancaster University, about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago approximately. The ultimate low-cost Arduino, you breadboard it yourself. That's just an 80 mega chip, that's on your Arduino. Go. Some viewers may remember this. This is the AT-Tiny85 programming board I made for the Arduino. Put that on top of the Arduino, put your AT-Tiny in there, bit of jiggery-pokery in the Arduino IDE software, and you can program tiny little chips to build stuff. And we have done that. Something that's not been on camera before. Here's a robot. So years ago I did a £10 robot before pandemic and yeah, all that happened and chip prices went weird. That's powered by an AT-Tiny 85. This was done by Fortronics for me as a little tester. The chip on here that does all the work is an AT-Tiny 85 controller, DRV or DRV? Yeah, DRV 8833. And then the sensor at the front. That's it. Never went into production, unfortunately, but that's more my fault than anyone else's. An AT-Tiny 85. It's not an Arduino, but it can be used with the Arduino IDE. So I've prattled on a bit. What's the best way to get into Arduino? Total newcomer to Arduino, you can go out and buy an Arduino. £8, you're on the way. It's a great board to learn from, good fun. £8, it's a lot of money, but if you want to get the right kit, you've got to pay the money. But saying that, I have a love for this. The Maker Uno board. Let's get it in shot. This is from Cytron. And this is an Arduino Uno type board. It's got a similar layout, it's just a bit wider. It's got built-in LEDs so you can see what pins are doing, if they're on, if they're off. Same pin layout as a standard Arduino. About £10. Board. I've got a lot of the Maker range from Cytron. Arduino and ESP32 as well. Other Arduino boards. This is my first Arduino. That's the first one that got me started. That was a Christmas present, so quite timely. Back in 2010 or 11, I think, something like that. Different layouts of boards. That's an Arduino made by Fortronics. That was an Arduino. We've got the Maker Arduinos, MKR 1000 and Maker Wi-Fi 1010. Uno that I built last year for Tom's Hardware. That was a make your own Uno kit. Cheap clone board. So there's another Cytron board. It's the Maker Nano. Similar in idea to the one they've got. LEDs on the pins and it just works. Built-in buzzer, LEDs, just works. There's some AT-Tiny boards as well. So there's no one Arduino that fits everyone's needs. So I would suggest you start off with an Uno or Uno clone and get a few bits and pieces, a few electronic components from Amazon or eBay, that sort of thing. Or Team U, it's been decent quality. Different things, so learn about inputs, learn about outputs, Arduino IDE, see how you go. Initially for me, let's go to Facecam. Initially for me, Arduino didn't fit the way I worked and how I learnt at that time. Got it and I was like, yeah, I can make lights turn on and off. Great. And a drop. Look at the Raspberry Pi coming out about a year later for me to go, hang on, that's interesting. Now, let's be honest. When I got it, it was from a Linux point of view. I'm a Linux person. So I got it and I'm like, right, okay, let's do some Linux stuff with it. Great, I've got a low power Linux machine. Great. It went in a draw. It was only then when I sort of started to tinker with GPIO stuff, with Python. Someone got me onto Python. Got me into Python, which got me into GPIO, which got me more into the Pi. And then I've got a career in it now. Strangely. So now we have the Raspberry Pi 5. There it is. That's a 4 gig model, remember rightly. Do stuff with that and do GPIO stuff, but it was all because I ended up with an Uno many moons ago. I thought, I wonder what I could do with this. Applied the lessons after to see, right, why did I fail? Interested. I wasn't interested, but I didn't find anything I wanted to do. Comes out, GPIO, Python, interested in programming, got me interested in this again, pulled it out the drawer and started tinkering. A Maker's all about being interested. Interested to go the extra mile, interested to learn something new. Picking up that board and going, what can I do with it? You'll fail, you will make mistakes, you will kill a board. I've killed 2 Pis up to now in my career. Great fun. Break boards, but you can buy replacements. Why my clone boards, you're not losing as much money. Tenner for that is, let's get the modern ones. This is 30 odd quid for that. Right, it hasn't got Wi-Fi on this one, but you don't need it to start with. You're doing GPIO stuff. Own, around with it, have some fun. If you're going to do stuff that's mission critical, a board. All about, as my friends used to say, having fun. Have fun building stuff. If you're not having fun, you're not learning. You don't want to learn. Literally be sat there going, right, okay. Have new ideas, have fun, learn new skills, and apply them. Anyway, that is the end of Maker Advent for 2023. Will we return in 2024? I'll have a little break and then come back to you on that one. I'm a bit tired from this one, to be honest. But again, thank you all for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll see you next year. Ta-da.